Mayor Rusty Bailey here. Census 2020 is fast approaching, and it's vitally important that everyone gets counted because millions of dollars in federal funds are at stake for our region. Fortunately, Riverside has a plan.
We are joined by a principal planner for the city of Riverside, Mr. Jay Eastman. We're going to be talking about the U.S. Census. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing?
Pretty fancy name, principal planner.
Principal planner, yes.
Yeah.
U.S. Census every 10 years. It's
Yeah.
important. It's important. But why is it so important, Jay?
The U.S. Census is in our Constitution. It's actually written into the Constitution. The federal government is required to go out every 10 years and count every person in the United States. We do that because the federal government has funding that it allocates.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So
dollars.
There's money that the federal government gives out, and it gives it out, it apportions it to, based on population, among other things. And so it's important to go out and count people and find out about, where people are. It's also about representation.
Yep.
So, for the United States, we have a Congress. It's made up of two parts. There's the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives, hard to say when you're on TV.
Yeah.
435 members.
I wasn't counting, but you would know better than me.
Those districts have close to 800,000 or 900,000 each.
Yeah, so they determine how many representatives per state based on the number of people. And so when they go out and count people, it's important to get that number right.
It's interesting to me that the founders had the forethought to include something this technical and this important long down the road in the Constitution. I find that fascinating how brilliant that document is. Yeah, it's amazing. But people, I think, don't realize, for example, like you said, the House of Representatives, districts are allocated based on census. That can change. A lot of people think, like the Senate, it's a fixed number, and it's not. It can change based on population. So along with that, what are some of the important things of being counted, or for that matter, I guess, not being counted?
Well, the important thing, I think, when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of it, the important thing is representation, and not just at the federal level. Counting people and counting people where they live matters for districting. So when we talk about local government, we talk about your representations at the local level, we create districts that are fair and equitable. And so understanding where people are, how many people are there, their ethnicity and background is really important when we start talking about fair representation.
And we try not to gerrymander. Google gerrymander.
Right.
Out there.
I'm not going to go there, but no, I mean, part of the point of counting people is because it matters in representation, and then funding. We already talked about funding.
Is it true an undercount last time cost our state $1 billion, or is it the inland area?
Empire. So
just not even the whole
two counties,
state.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
So
$1 billion.
What?
$1 billion. So it is. It's estimated by some people that it could be $1 billion.
That's over 10 years.
Yeah, and there's different studies that have been done. I've been told by some U.S. Census staff that the census equates to about $2,000 per person. And so our undercounted population from the last census, which was almost 10 years ago, was about 30%. It was a little more than 30%. And the undercounting has been growing every 10 years. And so if you're talking about...
That's not good.
Yes.
Stand up and be counted
and
for
it's
what you're
important.
about to receive.
Yeah, so if we're not counting people in the Inland Empire, and if it was $2,000
per person,
proportioning per person, then that's a lot of money we're not getting, and that could be $1 billion in the region. I will say that there was a study that came out that had it lower, about $1,200 per person, but that's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's still and it's money that's needed for services and things that we're doing at the local, at the county level. This census, however, is going to be different. So this census being done online, tell us about how it's changing, the process, as it were.
Yeah, and so it's an evolution. They tried to do or did do some form of electronic survey 10 years ago. This year is the first year that it's really taking a focus of doing an online survey. And so they're trying to send out the census invitation by email. I will say that you're not required to respond to the census online.
Who emails
There's-
anymore?
Yeah.
Especially younger people.
You should check your junk mail
Text.
folder.
Can
yeah.
we text
Check
it?
your spam folder.
Well, you can use your phone. So
Okay.
there's actually 3 ways to respond to the census this year. You can respond online. You can go to a webpage. You will receive in the mail an invitation to respond online as well. And you will have a code. And so you will put in that code for your residency, and you can respond online. You can.
If someone doesn't have a computer, how can they be counted?
Yeah, that's
Sure.
yeah.
If you don't have a computer, the city is trying to make our best effort to make city computers in libraries and our
Go to the
computer labs
library.
available.
Go to the library.
So
Right.
we are doing what we can to make sure that we get an accurate representation, an accurate count. You can call. There will be a phone number. You can do it on your phone with a live person. I believe it's a live person, actually. It may actually be a automated person. But you can call if you want. Or you can mail it in. They'll still take mail-in surveys and make that work. And then, last but not least, if you don't respond, the U.S. Census Bureau does send out enumerators. These are people that walk around and will knock on your
I
door.
like that.
It's like to have it on
Yeah.
your business card.
Yeah.
Enumerator.
So they will knock on your door and ask you to do the census. And
That-
so
That's actually an interesting point. If you don't answer it online, they're still going to try and get the count done. What other resources are being allocated, or what else are we doing to try and prevent an undercount?
Sure, there's a big effort underway. I will say the U.S. Census Bureau is doing an effort on their own just to make people aware what the census is and to understand some of the facts about it, because there are some things that have been recently in the news that are create a little bit of challenges for them. But they are trying to be, I'll say, fair among all the states. So they're not really making a huge effort, if you will, to really get out there. They're using their limited resources to make it work. The state has put aside a lot of funding. I want to say it's over $150 million to statewide to bring some nonprofit groups together to help do outreach and communication to the public.
150 million statewide is actually inexpensive when you think we may have lost $1 billion just in the inland area.
Right.
Yeah, so the last numbers I have for how much funding the state received was in 2015, and it was $77 billion.
Yeah.
That's how
a good
much
investment
funding that we received in
Right.
2015. So they have hired a number of groups. There is a partnership between Riverside County and San Bernardino County. And they have a webpage, iecounts.org. And they are doing their part to get the word out and make it matter. And then also the city of Riverside. I mean, there's a lot of complete count committees that have been created.
Complete count.
Complete count
Complete
committees. And so the city of Riverside has a working group where we're trying to promote the census
Yeah.
and make people aware of it. School districts, universities, a lot of different groups are out there that are trying to make sure that they're represented.
I saw them out at the Festival of Lights the other night, and they're signing people up to help with the census. Is there a color or something that they're using? Was it orange? What can people be thinking about or looking for when they see census workers coming to their door? They have. I know they're going to have uniforms. Do you?
Yeah, the census workers will have they'll have an official badge. It'll be a U.S. Census badge, and they also will have a case that they carry that is distinctive that will say U.S. Census Bureau on the side of it. And so it's
important for
like
people.
a carry bag,
Right.
and so they will be clearly identified. And if you have access to a computer and you go on the U.S. Census webpage, that information's there. And there will be a lot coming in January. There'll be a lot of media, commercials and other things online throughout the United States.
Jay, thank you for bringing home the bacon to Riverside,
Yeah.
so to speak. No, seriously, thank you for your efforts in leading this charge to count, our residents and thereby get us the funding that we deserve.
No, it's my pleasure to be part of it. It's a huge thing, and it really matters, and it affects the lives of a lot of people. So,
Thanks again, by the way, for coming down. Throw the website out again that you mentioned,
iecounts.org.
iecounts.org. So again,
IEcounts.org.
for this segment of Riverside Monthly, thanks to Principal Planner for the City of Riverside, Jay Eastman, for stopping by. Mr. Mayor, as always, good to see you as well.
We'll do it again.
We've got 3 segments this month. Make sure you watch each and every one.